This is SoulCharge, the podcast for women leaders to take the highest level of ownership of their power to create results now. I'm your host, Stacy B. Let's dive in. You know you've done it. You know you've said it, and it's time to stop it. What am I talking about? Getting in your own way. The amount of women leaders that I have spoken to over the last week and a half about this topic, I knew that it was such a hot topic that I needed to bring it to the pod. And we're coming in hot. Today's episode is a call out. It is a call out so that you can stop this pattern and actually free yourself to create everything that you are trying to create. The number one thing that I see happen with powerful women leaders is that they all experience one theme consistently, no matter the level of success, no matter what they've accomplished. And that theme is that even when they have the plan mapped out, even when they know the exact steps to take forward, they find themselves with an invisible rope around them, stopping them from taking the next steps, stopping them from moving forward in some capacity. And this rope that they have put into place is self-imposed, and it is holding ourselves back because of one thing and one thing only. And it is because we are deathly afraid of how powerful we are. You, my friend, listening right now, know of what you are capable of. You know the next level. You know the path forward. And there is a part of you that knows that if you let yourself go, if you seize what it is that you know you are supposed to seize, that nothing and no one will get in your way because you are the only one powerful enough to interrupt how powerful you are. There isn't anything bigger. There isn't anything stronger. There isn't anything greater than your power. But therein lies the problem, is that you do not feel safe, nor do you know how to embody the vastness of your power. And that is actually what is holding you back. And so the first thing that we have to do is, as always, as I say all the time on this podcast, is we have to shine a light on what is going on. You have to be willing to admit that you are afraid of how powerful you are. You are afraid. It's not of success. It's actually of your power being hard to handle. It is the fear of too muchness. It is the fear of, if you let this rip, if you let it go, it's going to be uncontainable and you're going to lose control. And that fear is actually what's holding the next level of the business back. It's what's holding you back in trusting the team you need to bring on. It's what's holding you back from letting the team that needs to go, letting them go. It is the thing. We first have to be willing to admit that our power is so great and we haven't been taught how to handle it. It feels so massive. It feels like such a responsibility to bring the power into the world, but at the same time, it also can feel like, how do I move through the world in a way that's totally unleashed and feel safe in the process? That's what's holding you back. That's what you're afraid of. And so what do? You self-sabotage. You put things into place that holds you back. You do these things and you create unnecessary obstacles for you to work around, all postponing you stepping into your power. This conversation about power, especially in women leaders that are achieving and creating so much, sometimes can feel at first like there's like almost like a little bit of a disassociation, like when you hear me say claiming and stepping into your power, because you're already so powerful. But what I want you to try on is like in your power that you're truly exuding in the world today, you are playing small, 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 and you know it. You know you're playing small. You feel it in your bones. You feel these invisible hoops or layers that hold you back. And you're constantly seeking how to undo them and how to liberate yourself from them and how to break free. The problem is that you hold the keys and you've put the chains on. And so it's like one of those games that you play where there's like no way to undo like the shackles. You know what I'm talking about? Those little like hand games, like Cracker Jack kind of games. It's the ultimate example of what we're going through as women and what we're so ready to leave behind. We're done playing small. We're ready to claim our power. We know we've already claimed our power, but we feel like we're playing small almost on a daily basis. We know there's more, but then we feel imprisoned, but it's like our own prison that we've built and we hold the key and we're out there searching for the keys. And the one place that we're not looking is in our own hand. The one place that we're not looking is turning the mirror back and saying, wow, this is actually something I keep perpetuating. I keep creating this prison by way of unnecessary obstacles because I know this is, by the way, you don't know this. You're not purposely doing this, it's unconscious. But what we're doing is we are unconsciously setting up these roadblocks because then our lives become about solving the problem and being a hero to that story versus having to step out and step forward into what we know is what we're meant for. And that's the whole thing, is that the challenge that we are experiencing right now, that you are experiencing on some level, is that there is a gap between how you feel inside and how you're showing up outside. And there is only one way to end this war. There's two things that you need to know. First of all, the war has been initiated by you, which is really exciting because if it's initiated by you, there's really only player A. And so you're able to end the war, but there's one key thing, is that the root of this war, the source of this war, is that you feel separate from your power. You feel like you are observing your brilliance instead of in the center of your brilliance. You feel like you're watching your achievements come and go. You're watching your business grow, and you're an observer of your own life. This is the root of it. And so we first have to deal with the fact that we feel separate from our own power, because that's actually the root of all of the chaos. That's what is spinning off these challenges or these things that we overcome. It's what's spinning off you getting in your own way, you playing small. It's what is creating and perpetuating the story that you're over, that you're done with. That's the first thing you have to understand, is that you feel separate from your power. Okay, great. Now that we've talked about that, what does it really mean when I say I feel separate from my power? I mentioned it a little bit, right? It's like you're an observer. You're like watching your life unfold versus you're the main character. It's like you feel like a supporting actress versus being in the arena. When we feel separate, it means on some level that we feel disconnected. We feel like an outsider to our own success and power. And so that's actually the source of why many women are people pleasing. They are approval seeking. They are burnt out, is because what they're trying to do, and you may be experiencing this as well, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to reconcile this pain. We're trying to reconcile the separation. and we're looking at it symptomatically versus dealing with the root. Part of what is happening is because we're looking at it symptomatically, because we're looking at it like, okay, I feel this pain. I know that I'm playing small. I know that I'm not being the full spectrum of myself and in all of my power. I can feel it. A lot of times we can't put words to it. And so that's one of my intentions with this podcast, is to give you words to what is happening. Because if you can hear my words and take them back into your world and say, oh my gosh, that is totally what's happening, it unlocks a level of awareness so that you can start dealing with the root versus the symptoms. So in dealing with the symptoms, that's what you use people pleasing for. That's what you use approval seeking tendencies for, is to reconcile this within. And once we can have compassion for, oh, it's not that I am a terrible person because I'm people pleasing, or it's not this horrible thing that I have to figure out. It's literally a coping mechanism for the root cause of why you're playing small. When you people please and approval seek and do things to get something, all you're trying to do is you're trying to cope with the deep pain of being separate from your power. It's really quite beautiful if you can look at it that way and go, wow, it's not that I'm a horrible human or that I have this condition that is you can't work with or you can't transform. It is truly that I'm trying to cope with the separation. So that is really this first piece, is that we feel separate from ourselves and we can't reconcile the truth until we can see that that's what's going on at the root. The other piece is that there are generational patterns. There are conditions that have passed down from generations that can oftentimes be taken on unconsciously. It can be like a 100-pound gorilla that you're carrying on your back and you don't even realize it. But what that is part of why you might be scared to step into your power is because of hundreds of years of what happened when women did that before. The ability to go and be fully expressed and exercise all pieces of our power is a new opportunity for women. And we forget that. And there's so much societal bias that is supporting women struggling and burnout and inequities in so many capacities. And we miss that. We miss that it wasn't very long ago that being powerful as a woman held great consequence. So, of course, you would be scared to bring the heat. Of course, you would put obstacles subconsciously in front of you, because that is what has happened to us for generations. But the beauty is that's not here anymore. And we have to step up. We have to realize that it's time for a new way. It's time for a new operating system. And that is why I have created SoulCharge. SoulCharge is the operating system for women leaders to harness their power and to learn how to step into it safely, powerfully, and harness their power so that they have a foundation to stand on, so that you have a foundation to stand on, and you can go out into the world rip-roaring in all of your glory, fully expressed, fully executing on everything you want to execute without any hesitation. It's just that we don't know how to do that. We haven't figured out how to do that prior to now. And so know that this, while there's succinct points in this podcast, this is such a bigger conversation. But your operating system, I want you to think of your iPhone or cell phone that you use. How often do we have to update those bad boys? Like sometimes the the updates that are coming through are, monthly. Women haven't ever had a baseline. Women have not had a baseline of how to recognize what's really happening. We just get labeled, oh, she's burnt out. Oh, she's over 40, so she's like in her decline. Oh, this, that, and the other. When really what's happening is we're operating using the wrong manual. Your power is ready for you to let it out of the bag. And you feel it. You can feel that it's equal parts so spicy and powerful and also elusive and theoretical and in the ethers. And how do you capture it? And you can feel that, right? Where it's like, it's not necessarily black and white. It's not necessarily cut and dry of how do I start moving through the world, not afraid of my power, but actually leaning into all of it. So let's talk about a couple of practical things that you can do so that by listening to this episode, you can take steps to start looking at your power as the close friend that's ready to welcome you, the friend that you get to welcome at your dinner table versus the thing that you're scared of or avoiding. So the first thing that I love to do is just to reflect on your life right now and reflect on, as it relates to your personal life and your business, can you see that there are things that you haven't deployed, you haven't taken action on? Because if you're really honest, it would require you to be in all of your power. And you don't necessarily know how to do that. Or another reflection point could be, oftentimes what I see with women is because they don't necessarily know how to step into their power, what happens is different forms of chaos or challenges arise where they notice that these challenges are actually distracting them from stepping into the power. In other words, the challenge or the chaos becomes the point of focus versus being all of you and unapologetically moving things forward. And so that's the first point of reflection is, can you see any challenges that are going on in your life? Can you see that they're constantly getting in the way of you actually stepping into your power and doing the thing? So that's the first thing. The second point of reflection is, can you reflect and see that you are the only thing that's standing in your way between you and where you want to go? And even if there is a perceived limitation or a perceived challenge that's standing between you and where you want to go, can you see that you are amplifying or perpetuating that by making that the thing versus being in your power? And then the last thing that I'll leave you with is, if you were in full power, what would your life look like? Is it different than it is today? What would be realized? What goals would have happened? If you can identify this and you can lean into the things I've shared with you in this episode, just simply by bringing your attention to the fact that separation has been at the helm of you accessing your power, that awareness is going to shift even just 2 millimeters, even just 5, even just 10. And you'll be able to lean in more. You'll be able to lean in and see that, yes, I have been afraid of how powerful I am. And if I chose to lean into that power instead of be afraid of that, be afraid of being too much, be afraid of being misunderstood, or be afraid of it being exposed, or what would happen, people not liking me, people being left behind. There's so many conditional things that are happening to us. If I put that all aside and I leaned in, what would my life look like? if I let myself be as powerful as I know I am. Are you loving SoulCharge? If so, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share an episode. We want to bring powerful content to women leaders each week so that women can be unleashed to create the results that they want now. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.